Hello everyone, welcome to today's deck profile. Today I will be doing the Nouvelles. Quick disclaimer before I start. I don't speak French. I have never spoken French. I'm going to butcher these names. Please don't arrest me in the comments for completely butchering the names. That being said, this is a super fun ritual-based archetype that surrounds a really old ritual called Hungry Burger. It's super fun to play with. I've been playing it at locals for a little bit, and I absolutely love it. So without further ado, let's hop right in. We'll start with 3 copies of Bouillabaisse des Nouvelles. You can ritual summon it with a recipe card. If this card's special summon, activate the top 5 cards of your deck. If you do, add 1 activated Nouvelles card from your hand, shuffle the rest back. It has the effect that if this card is targeted for an attack or an effect, tribute this card an attack position monster on either field to special summon a level 2 or 3 Nouvelles ritual monster from your deck. That second effect is one that's kind of shared throughout all of them. They all have different requirements on activation, but effectively it will always tribute itself and another card to then summon a bigger one from the deck. This is how you quickly grind up during your opponent's turn. Moving on to the level 2, which is Nouvelles des Nouvelles. When it's summoned, you can target a spell trap on the field, destroy it. When a card effect is activated, it targets this card on the field, or it's targeted for an attack. Tribute this an attack position monster to summon a level 3 or 4 Nouvelles from your deck. Now moving on to so these two both have a similar activation requirement. This specific card has to be targeted on the field to activate its effect. The next two, the 3 and 4, are a little different. Nouvelles des Nouvelles. When it's special summon, draw a card. If a card effect is activated, it targets a monster on the field, or a monster is targeted for an attack. That can be any monster. So you can target your opponent's monster, you can target this one, you can target another one of your monsters. As long as something is targeted, Nouvelles will trigger. Then it does the same thing. It will tribute itself and an attack position monster on the field. Once again, this time it doesn't have to be your opponent. It can be any of them on the field. You can special summon a level 4 or 5 Nouvelles from deck. Moving on to the 4, Foy Glacia, I think, des Nouvelles. When it's summoned, you can target up to 3 cards in any grave and shuffle them into the deck. Then when a card effect is activated that targets any card, any monster on the field, tribute this and another face-up attack position monster to then summon a level 5 or 6. So with the 3 and the 4, any monster on the field has to be targeted, and you contribute any face-up attack position monster on the field. Moving on to the 5. Balaminaire. I apologize, I probably butchered that one. When it's ritual summoned, you can, or when it's special summoned, add a recipe or Nouvelles card from deck to hand. You can target an attack position monster your opponent controls. Tribute it. If you do, special level 6 Nouvelles ritual monster from your hand or deck. This is a quick effect if it was somebody effective in Nouvelle. So this is where it starts to get, these are your boss monsters. Balaminaire, and the next one, which is Bale Grill of des Nouvelles. If it's special summoned, you can negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls until the end of the turn. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a Nouvelles monster, you contribute as many monsters your opponent controls as possible. Quick effect, target an attack position monster your opponent controls. Tribute it if you do special summon a Hungry Burger from your hand or deck. This is usually who you want to end on. If you do it during your opponent's turn, then it does become a full board negate, which is insane. Plus, if your opponent tries to summon anything in attack position, you get to go straight to Burger. Speaking of, we do play the 1 Burger. We do need to play it at 1, just because of some effects that we'll get to later, but 1 Burger is fine. Some people play 2 because it can get bricky, but I prefer 1. Moving on to spells, I play 3 copies of Nouvelles Restaurant at Table. When this card is activated, you can add a recipe card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Once per turn, place a ritual monster from your hand at the bottom of the deck to draw 1 card. Once per turn, during your end phase, you can target 2 cards in your grave, including a recipe card. Place them on the bottom of your deck in any order and draw a card. This is a great way to ensure that you are constantly recycling your ritual monsters, because they will get outed, and when they do, you will need to shuffle them back, or else you cannot continue to climb. Since it's such an important card, I also play a Terraforming just to ensure that I can get to it. We then play 3 copies of Wojciech. Reveal 2 Nouvelle monsters with different names from your deck. Your opponent chooses 1 for you to add to your hand and shuffle the other in the deck. Then you can add 1 of these cards from your deck or graveyard to your hand based on the monster type added. If it's a Beast Warrior, you can add the Fish recipe. If it's a Warrior, you get to add Meat recipe. So this is a great searcher for the deck. Really fantastic card. I don't think I really need to explain much more as to why it is a 3 of. We then play 3 copies of Fish recipe, also known as Recette de Poisson. It can be used to ritual summon any Nouvelles ritual monster. You can also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster. Then, if you ritual summon Base, you can add a recipe ritual spell from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So, you usually want to summon this off of your Fish recipe. That's why we play 3 of it, because it is a good starter for the deck. It's also the main recipe you will be using. The second one is Recette de Viande, also known as Meat recipe. Same effect, can be used to ritual summon any Nouvelles. However, if you ritual summon Confira, you can then change all defense position monsters your opponent controls to attack position. This is important in case your opponent is playing a very defensive deck, meaning you can't tribute any of them off of your Nouvelles. So, it is still 1 of, though, because it's unreasonably searchable. Speaking of searchability, we play 3 copies of Prep Rites. This can add a level 7 or lower ritual monster from your deck to your hand, and you can add a ritual spell from your graveyard to your hand. Highest level ritual we play is 6, so you will always have search target, sometimes even 1 from grave. Then we play 3 copies of Pre-Prep Rites. Add a ritual spell from deck to your hand, then you can add a ritual monster from deck or grave to your hand, whose name is listed on the ritual spell. So, Poisson for Bouillabaisse, and Meat for Confiros. Moving on, your opponent might not be playing anything that targets your monsters, so we play stuff to target. 3 Chalice, 3 Lamps. Not only can this be a negate if you need it, or make your monster unaffected, you can target your own monster to trigger its own effect, which is fantastic. So definitely worth playing these. I've even tested out Enemy Controller, which is another good one, because it can change your opponent's monster to attack position, and then trigger some of your other Nouvelles. Finally, 3 Chef's Special Recipe. When a spell trap or monster effect is activated while you control a Nouvelles ritual monster, negate the activation, then you can destroy that card if you control a monster that was special summoned by the effect of a Nouvelles monster. In the graveyard, if you special a Hungerburger, banish this card from your grave, tribute as many monsters as your opponent controls as possible. Fantastic way to out your opponent's board and then punch in with Burger and probably the level 6 and 5 Nouvelles. That is all for the deck. I'm super glad that after so many years, they gave support to the one and only Hungerburger. He's always been kind of a joke card, but now he has his own deck, living happy. As always, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.